Hey, there we go. I think the kid's asleep, so we should be good.
Yeah, hopefully.
The screen says it's good. Okay. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to episode 3 of our mini-series. And tonight's topic, as you can see on the subject, is sale in your personal lives, selling solutions, and building loyalty. And we're going to do a little jab in there as well with Simon Sinek, because as everybody knows that knows me, I love Simon Sinek, and my wife probably doesn't even know who that is.
Nope.
Phenomenal man. So we're going to get to it right away tonight. We have a couple good stories, and apparently we have a secret at the end of the video that Alyssa wants to do. I have no idea what this is about. So
Well, I'm never prepared for your part, so I didn't want to prepare you for my part either.
So I'm not prepared for that. So getting started. I want to start off tonight with the Simon Sinek. For those that know anything about him, the start with the why is something that's big that I love from him.
Sorry.
And
I just got a really bad cramp.
Cramp. Ooh.
Did not drink enough water at volleyball. Okay, we're good.
She just got back from volleyball. It's been a long day for her. But we want to start with the why from Simon Sinek, because I think it's a good segue into what tonight's topic is with solution selling and building loyalty. So if you can see this right here, I don't know if it's going to be too... there's too much light. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
The golden circle. Okay, so you have 3 circles there: the why, the how, and the what. So the principle behind this theory that Simon Sinek has is that there's certain companies that do things and they sell with the what in mind, and then there's really good companies that sell with the why in mind. So I'm actually going to read this verbatim because what he says in his video is really, really powerful. So the what is every organization on the planet knows what they do. These are the products that they sell or the services they sell, right? The how. Some organizations know how they do it, right? So the processes. These are the things that make them special or that set them apart from their competition. The last is the why. Very few organizations know how to do this. The why is why they do what they do. It's not about making money, because the why cannot be money. That's a result of that. The why is the purpose, the cause, or the belief. So with Simon Sinek, he has Apple as an example. And I love this because I think it's perfect in how he says it. So he gives 2 scenarios, right? So when you start with the why, I'm going to start with the what first. And I'm going to read off how Apple might sell if they were doing the what as their core, right? And then I'm going to sell as the why. So with the what, we make great computers. They're user-friendly, beautifully designed, and easy to use. Want to buy one? And you're going, okay, that's kind of catchy, sure, whatever. And then you go to the why version. So starting with the why. With everything we do, we aim to challenge the status quo. We aim to think differently. Our products are user-friendly, beautifully designed, and easy to use. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? So you've never heard that before, right? Mm-mm. So when you listen to those 2, what do you feel was distinct in the differences between the 2?
It's more personal with the second one.
Okay.
I feel like
How so?
you make it like apply to the person rather than just saying, this is what we have. It's awesome. You should buy it.
So did you notice they did it backwards?
Yeah.
So they said, instead of saying, oh, this and this and this and this, and it gets to you should buy it, mm-hmm. They go, it's like they talked about the why. They talked about challenging the status quo and how they're distinctly different. And then they went into, oh, we make great computers. Want to buy one? So the whole point behind Simon Sinek's premise with that is you're not selling what you're selling, right? So for example, if you're trying to sell a computer, you don't sell the computer for sake of selling the computer. You're selling the purpose behind that. So what does the computer do for the individual that's purchasing it? Why are you as a company selling it? And for Apple, they want to challenge the status quo. They want to be ahead of the competition at all times. And that's what they used in that marketing. And it sells vastly higher amounts because it's about the purpose and the why behind it, which is something we're going to talk about. Which, by the way, if you've watched any of these videos prior to tonight, what was something we talked about? It was about selling what?
Yourself.
And benefits versus features, right? So you're selling benefits versus features, and that's exactly what starting with the why is. So if you haven't seen Start with the Why from Simon Sinek, after this video, YouTube it. It's a short clip. It's like 10 minutes or less. It's awesome. So we're going to go into selling solutions and building loyalty. We're going to start with selling solutions. So when you talk about selling solutions, what does that mean to you? So she didn't prep for this, so I always like getting her opinion on what it's like. So what does that mean when you hear sell the solution?
So you're trying to give somebody something that they're actually going to use, I guess.
Okay.
That's how I view that.
Yeah. So if you were trying to sell a solution in your scenario, let's just use your example, right? So, Beachbody.
Oh yeah,
Alyssa's a Beachbody coach. So, and
brand new, kind of. Well,
Pretty-
December.
pretty new. And so there's one thing I want to point out now. So I'm gonna do a shout out to all of my friends that are in network marketing, because that's a huge thing in the last couple of years. And I'm gonna pick on them a little bit, but I think it's great because it's gonna help us all learn from it. You have two types of people in network marketing. You have people that reach out to you and they're just trying to get you on the team, right? They're just trying to get you the product. And it's very apparent really quickly on that. And then you have network marketers that really bide their time in getting to know people. And then when they find that outlet, right, that issue that somebody has or something that they want, then they go in with the product and go, hey, I know that you're having issues with this. How's that been going? And they dig from the backside, kind of like starting with the why. They dig from that backside versus going in hot and heavy at the front without knowing anything about that individual, right?
Yeah.
So network marketing has a bad rep because a lot of people that go into it do the first way, which is starting with the what. They know they have a product that they want to pitch and they know that they need people on their team. So what do? They just randomly start cold reaching out to everybody on their friends list and going, hey, want to start with this? Hey, want to start with this? The people that are really good at it, they will kind of find subtle things that their friends do that relay back into what they are trying to be a part of, right? So if they're, for example, selling some sort of health product, they're going to wait until they have friends that have something come up or post in statuses that relates to what that person is using or selling, and they're going to use that as an outlet to initiate a conversation with that individual, and it had nothing to do with the product but about their issue. And then they bring that issue into how, okay, so by the way, I do XYZ. Have you ever tried this to help with your problem? And then you go through the back way, and that's how you get them to have that loyalty, which we'll talk about in a second. So for her, Beachbody coach, I want to give a real example. Mm-hmm. So when you do Beachbody, are you just like reaching out to everybody going, hey, you want to do Beachbody? Hey, you look like you need to begin a nutrition program, or so how do you do that?
No, honestly, so to start with, I signed up as like a Beachbody coach, honestly, just to get discounts on the products and the programs that they do, because you get like VIP access to like new programs. For example, the 9-week control freak thing that Autumn Calories just came out with. I got like first access to it because I'm a coach, right? So that's why I initially did it, just for like the discounts and stuff. But then like the more I got into Beachbody and seeing like what they're all about and like the different types of programs, there's like hundreds, and like workout and nutrition stuff that you can do. I got like really, really into it. And I believe in the stuff that they do. And like that's the biggest thing when you're doing any kind of marketing like that, is really truly believing in the product itself. So I don't like go around saying, I'm a Beachbody coach, like you should join my team and stuff like that. Really, when people are asking like, I don't really know how to clean up my nutrition, I'm like, oh, there's my in. I just talk about Ultimate Portion Fix and the nutrition program that I follow. And then also 2B Mindset is another nutrition program that Beachbody does that does things a little bit differently, but it's also a very structured way to, balanced macronutrients. It's just a different way than what I do it.
So long story short, what you're doing is you're finding something that is a need of the individual, and then you're going, oh, hey, this is something that I've done that helps, and then going from there.
Yeah, totally just cut me off. Because
I did.
I was talking in circles. We talked about this
last
week.
She talks in circles,
I do.
And I try to lead her. Like, this is helping her in her podcast. Like, if we go off topic too long, guess how many viewers are going to be there? Zilch, done, and it's over with. So I'm trying to help push her into like, okay, get to the point.
Long story short, I don't market me. I don't market me doing Beachbody. But if somebody has questions, I have a huge nutrition background to begin with, on top of my knowledge with the nutrition programs with Beachbody. So I genuinely just want to help them and help them succeed. And if I have any kind of knowledge to help them do that, then I'm going to share it with them. If they join my team, cool. If not, it really doesn't upset me. So
she's helped me numerous times with people that I know for free, and it's been phenomenal for them. The key points here, episode 1, for those of you that are not keeping up with episodes, we talked about passion and having passion for what you do. That's probably the forefront of what she does. She has a passion through her prior history, her education, and other things. And number 2, she's starting with the why. She's not going out to people going blah, 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 hey, join my team, this and that. She's waiting until she finds a reason why people need her, and then uses that to have that segue conversation. So thank you.
You're welcome.
That was a good transition. after we had that nice forefront there. So another thing with selling a solution that we've talked about in the past is being intentional versus museum pitching. So in your personal world, for example, we were talking about, okay, when I'm trying to convince my wife to do something, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to be like, oh, this is so cool. They're going to have this and this here and start throwing features out and going, doing the museum process. Like, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And she's like, whoopity doo dah. I don't really care. Everybody wants to know what's in it for them. So when we talk about selling a solution, that's what we're getting at, right? Because we talked about it last week in a whole different context, but this week it comes back to, okay, so I'm not selling a product. I have a solution to an issue that somebody has, because everybody has issues, right? And you could do that with any sort of personal issue that you have in your life. So if you have any sort of problem, what's the problem that you have in your world?
I would probably say I am struggling with a lot of stress in my life. I won't go into a lot of details. So it's really hard for me to like plan things right now, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the reason why I wanted her to give me something was because of this, is that if I try to approach you right at this point in your life with, say, makeup, is it really going to interest you that much?
Absolutely not.
Probably not, because with all the stress, she probably doesn't want to put on makeup anyway. She probably doesn't even want to wear a bra.
I usually don't.
She just wants to be in a t-shirt and go, hey, I really don't care right now. And you didn't see those signs, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not so. And this translates into everything in your personal life too, right? You have to see the signs of what the person truly needs at that moment. So it may be wrong place, wrong time too, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I know when to approach my wife about certain things if I want her to react a certain way, and sometimes we're not perfect at that. Case in point was last night.
We got into a big fight last night.
We had a lot of stuff going on last night, and I think this is a perfect example right here, right? So we had a lot going on yesterday. I was extremely heated, like about to burst, and anybody that knows me knows I'm very type A, and I try to keep my anger woosad.
He has gotten better the last 7 years we've been together, like much better, just saying.
So last night, she asked me a question that normally would not bother me at all, and I wouldn't give any sass or sarcasm back, and she asked it at the exact inopportune moment when I was at the peak of my being frustrated, and she added to that level of frustration.
My side of that is I was in a very emotional state, and I needed an answer.
Right then and there.
Like, I did.
Long story short, I gave her sarcasm and sass. And that did not go over well at all. And then she got fired up, and she also realized that she asked me at the wrong point in time. I even told her in the middle of my sass, hey, you should probably ask me in a few hours when I'm not completely about ready to blow up on the world.
It was inconvenient for him at that moment for me to ask him, but it would have been inconvenient for me to ask him 2 hours later because I was trying to plan the thing.
So anyway, point being, out of all that, without going off on many tangents again, is that you have to be cognizant and aware of when you're talking to somebody, and look at the nonverbals too. Like, if they start to look away from you, or they start to fidget, or things like that, what you're talking to them about probably isn't that important or isn't interesting them at the time. And there's going to be clear-cut signs via eyes, how their legs are placed, if their legs are curled, if they're back behind their feet. There's a lot of things that people will start to do that subconsciously that will tell you, hey, maybe I probably shouldn't talk about this right now, and I should probably move on to something else. So look for those signs, not only in business, not only if you're, going back to the network marketing, because it's about the solution. Figure out what that person needs at that given moment. For her, if she has high stress and anxiety, she probably just needs a couple of things. She probably needs like a massage session.
Yes.
Maybe, just a movie and popcorn. Maybe a date. Maybe she needs a date night. Maybe
I just want you to let me sleep all day long.
Maybe she just needs to sleep. Yeah. So, and that's where you have to get to know that, right? About anybody that you're talking to, and everybody's different in how they react to certain things. So knowing those cues is important, not only in the business world, but with your spouse or anybody else, right? So that's about selling a solution. I think we hit the nail on the head on that. Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Okay, building loyalty is the second half of tonight. All right, I like this. Before. Okay, so why do people love certain brands? Because this is how we're going to start with building loyalty.
Oh, I'm a brand person.
Okay, brand people.
Yes.
My brand people. All right, so if you're watching this and you're at this point right now, I want you to comment in the comment section on what brands come to your head when you think of something you love. So mine's Texas Roadhouse. That's going to be my example. It's Texas Roadhouse.
I do like Texas Roadhouse.
So what brands do you love without even saying why or how? Just say what. Just put the name of the brand. What's yours?
Annie's. It's an organic food product line.
Okay, so I'm going to do mine quick, and then I'm going to have you do yours.
Okay.
So Texas Roadhouse. There are two things that really good brands do, in my personal opinion, right? Like, this isn't something I pulled from the online on Google. This is something that I believe is that, one, they provide a concrete solution for an issue, right? So I love food. I get hungry every 2 hours. That's a constant issue. So what do? I eat, right? So that's everybody needs to eat. Texas Roadhouse, they fill that solution. The second half of that, which is where things come full circle, is that brand or that company does things at a high quality consistently. Consistent. They're consistent in their quality, and they fill a solution. So with Texas Roadhouse, I worked there for 6.5 years, right? Every single time that I ate there, I had a great meal. Never had a bad meal. Everything on their menu is phenomenal. The atmosphere was always the same. They did line dancing every hour on top of the hour. They had, the atmosphere was crazy. The energy was high with the music, and that was consistent no matter which Roadhouse I went to. So that's why that company stood out to me. All right. Annie's.
Yeah, so I recently, probably in the last 6 months, kind of like transitioned all of our food to like organic brands or organic products. And Annie's has just like, if you just read the ingredients in most of their products, it's like organic whole wheat, and like there's like sugars at like the very end of the ingredient list. If you're into nutrition like we are, that like is super important, like reading the ingredient list and seeing what is actually in the food. So long story short, all of their products are organic and healthy for you. It's a better product than if you were just to buy like random biscuits or whatever. So I just like the taste of them, and knowing what I'm putting into my body is super important. So yes.
She got to the point really quick on that.
I was getting anxious because I felt like you were like, stop talking. Seriously.
Everybody give her a golf clap. That was much better than earlier in the call. That was phenomenal. See, we're already improving. We're learning something just by doing the podcast.
Even though you added to my anxiety that I already have. Thanks.
I'm sorry. I'm really good at that, by the way.
Yes.
Don't let her. Oh, she already said yes. Okay. So, in the book, when we reference back to Don't Be a Dick, right? When we talk about loyalty, in that book, we have a couple of components, right? So we have the upfront experience, and then we have the follow-up. So I wanted to briefly touch on that and how that's relevant to your personal world. So the upfront experience is huge, right? So if somebody just met you, or you're just trying out a product or something like that, the upfront experience is really big because first impressions matter, right? So if you're meeting somebody new or you're going into an interview, that first minute, that first 5 seconds can dictate the pace of the entire conversation. So that's a huge component to look at, not only in interviews or in sales and business, but in your personal world. If you're about to meet somebody new, one, don't have preconceived notions. Have you heard that before? Don't have preconceived notions about how that person's going to impact your life, because even if you're just at a party or you're just meeting somebody on the street, you never know where you're going to meet that person again. So keep that in mind. And make sure that first impression is spot on and the way that you want them to have that impression, because perception's reality. The back half of building loyalty is where the magic happens, in my opinion, especially in business. I can go on a business tangent all night tonight, but the back half is the follow-up and the follow-through. So when you talk about this in your personal world, in the business world, that's making sure that after the point of sale, you're actually making sure that solution that you sold, that path to get to that solution is actually happening, right? You're not just going to sell whatever product or service you have and go, okay, bye, see you later, and not, because some people do that, right? So in the book, we talk about stages, and there's 3 stages in my book that I have. And the first one is you're going to have 3 different mindsets, right? So the first one is the case closed mindset. So you make the sale, boom, done, case closed, on to the next sale. Like they're just there for the grind. They don't care about what happens after that they get their money. So that's the first one. Second one is fake it till you make it. That's what I call it. That's stage 2, fake it till you make it. So those types of individuals are going to go, okay, I made the sale. They're going to do one follow-up. They'll do like a thank you, right? Like, oh, thank you for your buying my product and supporting me, or thank you for meeting with me the other day, blah, blah, blah. But they never actually fulfill their promise on, okay, I sold a solution. Now, how does that look 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year down the road, right? And then you have the third mindset, which is extremely important in business, but it's also important in your personal life, right? So number 3 is the completionist mindset. Mm-hmm. I was really anal about this when I was in sales. And you can ask, I don't know if Dalton will ever see this, but he was my fitness manager at 24 Hour Fitness, by the way. So you guys notice I always am wearing shirts from the fitness industry. This is actually the first company that I ever worked for in fitness, which was 24 Hour Fitness. I had a Lifetime shirt on the other day with Alpha. And I worked with Dalton at the very first 24-hour location that I worked at. And we created a process for follow-ups on people that we sold memberships and training to, because there was not one in place at the time, right? Like the company didn't have a company-sponsored, oh, let's do a follow-up system. So we created one. And it was hugely successful for us, because what does that do? So if you have somebody that sells you a product at the store, and then you get a customized phone call or an email a month or 2 or 3 later, or they follow up with you to see how things are going, how much would that surprise you?
It would surprise me, but it would also be appreciated and make me more likely to use that service or buy that product again if I'm happy with the product.
Yep.
But it would make me think about it, like, do I like this? I could probably use it again. So yeah.
Because when you have a product, like how many people follow up with you, you know? Like,
yeah.
So case in point, fitness, since it's a perfect example, when I would sell somebody a membership, I mean, we had a CRM, we had a customer database, right, where we could put notes and follow up. I would follow up for up to 3 months afterwards. And obviously that steamrolls and adds up, and it's a lot of work. But on the back end, I've had people like cry in my arms because they changed so much over the course of my time knowing them. Like people that have lost 100 plus pounds, people that just changed their lives. And I mean, what that does, one, is it gets that person to their solution, right? But that person becomes a raving fan. Mm-hmm. This is in a lot of sales books. Raving fan. Write that down. So the back half of building loyalty is actually following through on the said solution that you provide up front, and doing that follow-up and having it be customized for the person that you're talking to. So that's not just in business, that's in your personal life, right? So, and that's for like an example for your personal life, that could be as simple as going, oh, like let's just say it's your friend, right? Mm-hmm. And you gave them a new peanut butter brand because they needed something that didn't have peanuts, and you gave them sunflower butter. That could be as simple as a month later going, hey, how's the sunflower butter been treating you? And does your son like it? Oh yeah, they love it. Awesome. No issues with skin rashes or anything? No, it's been phenomenal. Great.
I actually did that with my stepdad. He had some GI stuff going on, and yeah. I told my mom and my stepdad, I was like, you really need to add a probiotic and a prebiotic, because nobody knows about prebiotics, right? Like literally nobody. Google it. It's really good for you. So I was like, you really need to implement these supplements into your diet because of said reasons for his GI issues. Yeah. And he told me like a month later, he was like, I feel so much better. Thank you so much. So just even like a little bit of like, oh, well, maybe you should try this, because of the knowledge that you have and the genuine like care you have for that person goes a long way. Like he feels a lot better now. So.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And you made sure that he felt better versus just going, oh, hey, good luck.
Yeah, no, I followed up with, he called me and I followed up with him, like, how are you feeling? Like, is it working? You know?
So, and that's huge. Like, and for example, and this is another example, is the interviews. I like to use interviews in all of my examples because a lot of people are really bad at interviews. Plus, everybody's always interviewing for jobs, right? The next thing, too, is a lot of people that really stick, because you have a ton of people interview for said positions, right? And if you're one of maybe 100 or more, or even thousands of applicants, how do you stick out? And one is the experience up front that interviewer has with you and that impression. But the second part is the follow-up on the interview.
I would say the first part is a bomb-ass resume.
So that gets you into the interview. Mm-hmm. So I'm talking once you get to the interview, it has to be phenomenal. That's a good point out, though. Thank you. And then the second half of that is, do you send them a thank you? After the interview, what I highly recommend is you go, hey, I just want to say thank you for your time today. I was excited to learn about, and then list specific examples. I was excited to learn about A, B, and C about your company. I think I'm most excited about this. I think what I bring to the table will be A, B, and C to help complement where your guys' area of opportunities are. I look forward to hearing from you. How is that versus just doing the interview and never following up? People are going to remember that. Mm-hmm. Like me as interviewing people on my side, if I had people follow up with me and I liked the candidate in the interview and then they did a follow-up, game over. That was it. And it takes you, what, 5 minutes of your time?
Yeah.
And you guarantee land the slot as long as you're qualified. So the second half of this, I don't like to beat a dead horse, but the second half of building loyalty is so extremely important in everything you do. Whether it's just with your friends and family, whether it's in business, whether it's in sales, especially in sales, because that's where you get your referral base, right? Last key point, and then I'm going to let Alyssa do her thing before we start to close out. So I'm going to give a real example right now. 24-Hour Fitness. And Tosh, if he ever watches this video, Tosh was my boy at 24 and Shawnee. He was one of my sales guys. That entire sales team was phenomenal. So when I got to 24-Hour Fitness, we had a referral program, right? And it's hard to get referrals from people because they don't trust salespeople, right? And they're like, oh, you're going to harass my friends. Like, I didn't do that. So when I started, zero referrals, right? And would maybe get one referral here and there. So I get like maybe 4 or 5 a day. By the time I left there 9 months later, I had roughly 570 leads that I had not even followed up with yet. That's
a lot of people.
Plus the ones I was following up with, because of the follow-up process that I had with everybody that I signed up. It wasn't just okay, see you later, bye. It was hey, I'm following up with you. It's been 3 months. How are you getting to your goals? What are your roadblocks? How can I support? And it was specific to that individual. And they're like, holy cow. And they referred everybody. Like, dude, you got to meet Brian here. You got to meet the trainers. John's phenomenal. Dalton's awesome. And I'm just listing out examples, But it completely changes everything. And when you do that on the personal level too, in your personal life, and you follow up with people a month or two later after a conversation you had, like, hey, I know you told me about this a while back. How's that been going? Mm-hmm. They're like, you remember that conversation? Holy cow.
Making somebody feel important and feel like a priority, I feel like it could literally make all the difference in that person's life. You don't really know what they're going through. Like they started this journey and they're going to fumble and fall, and having just one person say, how's it going? Is there anything I can do to help you? That literally could make somebody's world.
Mic drop. I don't want to drop that mic. She bought that for Christmas. It's very expensive.
Not that expensive.
Okay, well, anyway, let's just pretend it was. So I'm going to recap. So here's our recap, and then I'm going to let Alyssa do her thing. Selling a solution. It's going back to things we've already talked about, right? You're not going to be feature oriented when you're talking to people about stuff. You're going to talk about benefits, and the benefits directly tie in to solutions to problems that individuals need. So if you're actively trying to help other people with a genuine care, you're going to look for solutions anyway, right? That's something you do inherently if you're actually doing things for the right reason. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing that, you're not even going to have to worry about selling a solution. Building loyalty, on the other half, it sounds like something that would be specific to sales, but it's really not, right? You're building loyalty with your spouse. You're building loyalty with your friends. And you do that by helping fill the void that they have in their lives, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's what spouses are literally for. You are each other's halves to combine to be a whole. And you have to do that with high quality and consistency, right? Oh, that's funny how that works out. It works in business and in your personal life.
Quality, consistency, and being genuine in your actions.
Yes.
You have to genuinely want to help or care about that person,
Yeah, I know that fake stuff.
Yeah, no, fake doesn't work.
Fake doesn't work, especially if people can read through that, I punch fake in the face.
What about your fake it till you make it point?
Yeah, they don't do well. They don't do well. That's stage 2 in my book, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Stage 3, yeah, that's where you get legit. So So make sure you sell a solution. When you're trying to pitch an idea or anything, if you're trying to pitch yourself in an interview, or you're trying to tell, like, get your spouse to do something, you sell a solution to a problem they have and why it's beneficial to them. And then when you're building loyalty, it's about two parts. It's about having that upfront engagement with that. So in the interview is a perfect example. How impressive are you in that first 2 minutes? In talking to that, are you actively engaged? Do you meet them with the eye? And then after that, are you following up? Are you doing that due diligence to show that you were engaged during that conversation and that you actually listened actively and that you took something away from it? Because if you do those two things well, the loyalty that people will have with you will become vastly higher than what it probably is right now. And then lastly, if you haven't watched it before, Simon Sinek, The Golden Circle, start with the why. Look that up on YouTube. So I want you to know, why is there no comments tonight?
You didn't really ask a lot of people to.
I really didn't.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I asked earlier was a brand that stands out for you guys. If you're on this late, say a brand in the comments that sticks out to you that you love. Just a brand. Nike, like ours was Texas Roadhouse, and hers was Annie's Organic with the food. So, and then why that is. And then lastly, comment on what you took away from this if you're watching the whole thing or if you watch this later, and follow up with what you took away, because that helps us structure things for the future conversations when they have these podcasts. So now I'm going to hand it over to my wife and see what she wants to tell everybody.
Do you trust me?
That's a loaded question.
My mom keeps asking me to do this. She wants us to sing. So we're going to sing A Whole New World for everybody on Facebook Live watching this.
Oh, wow. At least you picked a song that I can somewhat sing.
I know. I might forget the words because I usually do.
So let's keep that a little bit away from the mic so it's not...
It's not that loud.
If anybody's watching this, can you hear the music? The Whole New World?
Well, let's sing it a cappella.
Okay, we'll do a cappella.
Do you trust me?
Do you trust me?
Yes.
What'd you say?
What'd you say?
Do you trust me?
Oh, you did. You got this.
I wasn't mentally prepared for this.
You got this. Everybody have a good night. See
Wow.
you next time.
Now there's 0 viewers. I think we scared them all away. Bye.